Hello, everybody. This is Swati, and I'm recording from Los Angeles. You are going to see this recording on November 12th, 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. PST. The reason I'm recording is the whole week long, next week, I will be gone for a specific retreat. And there I'll be also doing a lot more deep teachers training for self-compassion, specifically mindful self-compassion. As you all must have realized by now, that I have really begun to believe in self-compassion over self-criticism as a way to encourage and motivate ourselves. And because of my deep interest in self-compassion, I've decided to go to this retreat, so I'll be gone for the whole week, and hence the recording. This recording, however, is not about self-compassion. When I come back from the retreat, I'll let you know if there's anything I learned that I think would be useful for you guys. But before that, last time we talked about anger. And at that time, I had asked everybody to send me if there are any specific situations they're dealing with, which I could use to further discuss the issue of anger. And that's what I would like to do. Before we get into it, I want to talk about what it means by managing your anger. We have talked about how sometimes we get into destructive moods of expressing anger. We are called either hot-headed or we are feared if we do that. And that's the reason why we wanted to use mindfulness to control our reactions to our angry feelings. But there is another way which can be just as destructive, which is to hide your anger, to suppress your anger. In fact, there is an article, I read an article in the magazine Mindful, which talked about this issue of hiding anger. Research shows that hiding anger, the people who hide anger and don't talk about it and suppress it, are more likely to have heart attacks. And it kind of makes sense. So just remember, whatever we are talking about, it's not about hiding, suppressing your anger. It is about making sense of the anger, communicating it better, or to actually face it, deal with it, maybe not in a self-destructive or relationship-destructive mode, but in a more constructive mode. So I want you guys to remember, hiding is just as bad. Now, given that, what do you want to do with anger? I received a few emails. Some of them were about anger against friends, that the friends do something that's really irritating. Sometimes it may mean crossing boundaries, or sometimes it may mean ignoring us, misunderstanding us, or attacking us for no reason. So these are some of the issues in friendships. Then there were couple of people who wrote about their discomfort about family. And when they express it in anger, it doesn't seem to work. They cannot communicate with their own family. That is a trickier situation in some sense, because with family, the relationships are more complex. And it's hard to just say, oh, I don't want you in my life. Either way, how do you use mindfulness? Now, again, I will have to use more general purpose suggestions because I don't want to use specific situations. However, there is one time when I will be using situations from my own life, which I hope you can find some similarities in whatever you are dealing with as well. So number one thing, as I said, learn to pay attention to the physical sensations to know when the anger is coming to you, because that is one way you will be able to know if you want to change your pattern and react differently. Now, what does that mean? In what ways can you change your pattern? I just want you to know that The studies that were done with mentally ill people who had anger issues, with them when they were trained to do a specific meditation when they felt angry, it reduced the violence in their reaction. Not only just for the time being, but after the training, they were followed up after 4 years, and the way they expressed their anger had become much less violent. And I want to talk about that specific meditation. Try to do it next time you feel really angry and you notice the surge of anger. Pay attention to the soles of your feet. Be mindful of whatever is going on in that area. That's the place where you may feel grounded. Pay attention to that instead of focusing on the anger and responding to it right away. You do need to take a little bit of a pause when you feel really angry. Then and only then you will know what to do in the moment. But remember, the soles to the feet, this meditation is particularly useful in diverting your attention to the body, neutral part of the body, the groundedness in the moment. When you do that, the surge of anger, the wave that comes over and just may drown you, can be managed. Then what do you do? Now, this is what I suggest. As I said, that in your anger, in your feeling anger awareness, in your feeling awareness meditation, when you are thinking about whatever had happened before, as I said, think about what was underneath the anger. Was it hurt or was it fear? And when you figure that out, it will give you a slightly different idea of why you were angry. But most importantly, my first reaction to it is whenever there is an angry situation, I think the contribution lies from both sides. As in, if there is an angry exchange. So, think about in what way you may have contributed to this angry situation. Honestly speaking, self exploration. I will give you an example. For example, I have talked about how my husband and I, we have a different relationship after that long anger awareness meditation I did. But that doesn't mean we don't get into arguments even now. So just a few days ago, a friend was visiting, and this friend was talking about how her ex-husband is creating problems for their son. I felt like he was sort of using his son to express his anger against my friend. And I felt some sense of loyalty towards my friend. And although as a psychotherapist, I've learned to pay attention to both sides, at that time, the loyalty for my friend kind of took over. And I was asking her questions about her husband's youth and about the discrepancies in his behavior and his lifestyle and so on. When I was asking these questions, she seemed slightly uncomfortable. And my husband was sitting there too. And he looked at me and said, why are you asking this? Are you judging him for that? And I said, no, I just want to know. I am interested in how people's mind works. And he said, it sounds like you are holding some judgment against him. And he insisted on that. And I felt really mad at the way he was asking me. He was being aggressive, I thought. And he was judging me for judging this other person when I didn't think I was really judging him. So I turned towards my husband and I said, but this is not about analyzing me. We are talking about this person. And he kind of backed off, I think. And I think I said it rather aggressively. But later on, I told my friend that, I was responding not so much because I judged her ex-husband's lifestyle, but it was because I had a sense of loyalty towards her. And I thought that her husband's actions in their divorce proceedings were not just. Later on, I was meditating over my anger. It wasn't such a big event, but even then I did feel angry against my husband because I felt like he is typically aggressive when it comes to any argument that's in front of other people, and then it's hard to respond back. In fact, he should be holding my best interest in his heart, and if he has any objection, he should wait and should talk to me after this person had left. But in any case, when I was meditating over this anger, my anger towards him, I realized that underneath I was obviously hurt. And why was I hurt? I also felt shame. I felt shame because I thought that he was right. I was judging her husband, her ex husband. He did see whatever he saw in the way I was asking questions, there was judgment. And in some sense, I did have to admit to myself that although I said, no, I wasn't judging him, I was just saying it out of sense of loyalty. No, I was judging him. Also, because of being in a certain position of authority, I didn't want him to point to my folly, my judgment, because I take pride in not judging people on that level. I take pride in being very accepting and non judgmental. But certain things just show up, and it had shown up at that time. So, what he was commenting, or what he was commenting on, was in some sense right, and I had to recognize this. Once I recognized it in me, my anger towards this situation against him went down so much. I do want to communicate to him. I do want to tell him that, look, when it comes to responding to or pointing to certain things in front of other people, I would appreciate him not being so aggressive. That way, we can discuss this situation, and I will let you know how I communicate with him. And in the end, what turns out, the situation is still progressing. But I just want to say, my anger has gone down tremendously because of recognizing my part in it. But you have to be really honest to yourself in order to do that. So when it comes to, especially when it comes to family, this is typically true. You do hold some responsibility, and if you recognize the responsibility, it will help you. Then you can communicate to this person better. So the next step is, yes, you do want to communicate and you do want to tell them something hurt you. Then one more time, I want to talk about this article in Mindful Magazine, which said that when you are communicating whatever made you angry to a person, it's a good idea to have the caveat of discomfort. What is the discomfort caveat? It's really neat. I think it really works. When you are telling the other person, first say that you are uncomfortable about this situation, you're feeling strongly. So the way you communicate may not be very clear, and if so, I already apologize. So you are already apologizing for not being able to communicate in the best possible way. You're not apologizing for feeling angry. You're not apologizing for whatever happened, unless you want to. You're just saying, you're just clarifying, look, I may not be able to communicate in the best possible way, but please try to understand what I'm saying. When you do that, the other person is a little bit already empathic and tries to listen to you on a different level. So try the discomfort caveat if you want to communicate it to your family or friend or whoever it is. Once you do that, see if you can resolve the situation. If, in spite of doing all these kinds of things a few times, if the situation still does not become any better, try different kinds of things. Even then, if it doesn't better, then ask yourself the question, do I really need this person in my life? Do I really need this aggravation in my life? Is it possible for me to either not have contact with this person, or not to really pay attention to whatever irritating things they're doing, especially with your friends? Think about it. Are the irritations so big that you don't want to have this friend in your life? Or can you just simply ignore it? Ignore as in with awareness that it's not such a big deal. Each one of us has a fault. Each one of us has something that's difficult about us. And we can just, say that, okay, fine, whatever they did, it's fine. I don't even have to communicate with them. Is it possible? The next step is then, of course, to either not have them in your life or have them but not to do anything about the situation because they may not be that big. There is something else. Of course, compassion, but forgiveness. If it is close family, think about if you can forgive them. But forgiveness is tricky. You know why? Because when it comes to forgiving somebody who's close to you, first you need to forgive yourself. Because when you really analyze the situation, you will figure out that you have contributed to the situation as well. And for that, you need to forgive yourself. Recognize common humanity. Recognize we all have our difficult points. It really helps to recognize common humanity and forgive yourself. Then it becomes easier to forgive the other person for being human. So these are all kinds of different ways in which you can deal with your anger against your friends or family. The question is, what is it that you want to do? I cannot tell you exactly what you should be doing, but I can tell you one thing: do an anger awareness meditation. And when you do this meditation, it may tell you what is it that you should be doing, would be doing. That may be one thing to try, something that you get insight into, and do it that way. But beyond all this, the good news is if you are doing mindful meditations and being mindful of your own feelings, not just anger, but overall feelings, that in itself is going to reduce this surge of fight or flight, unnecessary fight that you may be feeling. That in itself is going to reduce the intensity of your anger. So I think I have said enough about anger now. If there is anything else, let me know. Also, think about any specific thing about what I've said that could be applicable to your situation. I would love to hear about that from you. Meanwhile, now that we are here, we are going to do another anger awareness meditation. But this time, what we are going to do is when you experience a surge of anger for a past situation, I'm going to ask you to pay attention to the sole of your feet. Let's do that meditation. Oh, there is one more thing that I would like to talk about, which is humor. Humor is a high level defense. So, see if whatever situation you experience, if that could be amusing, and you could tell your friend in a humorous way that, hey, why don't you do this instead? Or what you said, meant this to me. You can use humor to reduce your sense of anger and to deal with the situation in a light way. That's one. And then let me see, I had made these notes. Um, okay, I think I have covered all these different points. One more time, when you find out in what way you may have contributed to this situation, remember this is not about self blame. If you feel shame or blame or anything like that, that's okay, just observe it and just notice, oh, I'm feeling shame, I'm feeling guilt, oh, I shouldn't have done it. But that's about it. It's about taking responsibility, knowing that whatever happened is still okay. You are a human being and you will have these journeys to make. So, given that, now I would suggest you close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. And Now let's begin our meditation. Pay attention to your breath going in, breath going out, how your body is receiving your breath at the moment, here and now. Bring yourself all here. Everything else is outside the door. Here you are, breathing in and breathing out. And as you are breathing in and breathing out, think about a situation where you felt angry with your friend or family, or an event for which you are holding anger. Think about it and allow those images and thoughts to come to you. And allow the feeling of anger to come to you. And as you are noticing the feelings, and as you're allowing your anger to come up, notice your whole body, how the anger feels like in your body. Where do you feel the anger and the stress from the anger? It's okay, you're safe right now because your job is to watch the anger and to know how it feels like in your body. Do you feel it in your head? Do you feel it in your chest? Do you feel it in the tightness in your shoulders? Or any backache or tightness in the back? Do you feel it in your tummy? And just watch the anger. Watch the body sensations. And pay attention to the images and thoughts that are coming to you because of this situation. Whatever is coming to your mind, just watch it. Are you willing and ready to let this anger come back to you? Or are you resisting it? If it is coming back to you, how it feels in your body and the image and thoughts, and if it is unpleasant. And now, as you feel the surge of anger, allow it to come to you, the surge of anger, the wave of anger. intense anger about this person or about this situation, and just think about the way you responded, the way you yelled, shouted, or whatever it is that you did, or left the room in a jolt, or whatever it is that you did, any violent reaction you may have had, or anything of that sort, or any rumination that you may have felt, analyzing it back and forth. As you are doing it, now gently let your attention go to the soles of your feet, soles of your feet, the grounded soles of your feet. Pay attention to the sensations in the soles of your feet. The place where your soles of your feet are touching the ground or anything else, maybe a fabric, maybe skin. Pay attention to that touch. Pay attention to the temperature in the soles of your body, of your feet, soles of your feet. Soles of my feet. How does the sole of my feet feel like? Keep paying attention to the soles and the touch and the temperature and the sensations you feel. And then say to yourself in your mind, these are the soles of my feet and I'm grounded here. And take a deep breath. And as you breathe in front of your mind's eye, see the breath going to the soles of your feet all the way. Breathe in deep and relax your shoulders. Breathe in and let the air, the oxygen, reach the soles of your feet and then see how it feels like. And now go back to the situation, the angering situation that you were attending to before. Go back to those images and thoughts and see if you feel the same kind of anger or not. Breathe in deep Relax your shoulders. You can put your hand on top of your heart area, soft and gentle, soft and gentle. Press it, experience the touch of your palm of your hand on it. Soft and gentle. Ouch, it hurts, but I'm okay. I'm okay. I can just watch this anger, just to figure out, just to allow a thought to come to my mind, to tell me how I should react to it, what I should do about it. Let this thought come to my mind. You are not sitting and analyzing. You are not writing pros and cons. You are not coming up with a strategy. All you're doing is you're paying attention to the thoughts and feelings and taking a deep breath, touching your heart, soft and gentle, relaxing your body, and saying, allow the next thing I should be doing to come to me. And now I'm going to ask you to stop this meditation. If you wish to continue, and if you really wish to have some sort of clarification in your own mind about your anger, please continue doing this meditation. But those of you who want to stop, you may stop and go back to your breath again. And say to yourself, breathe in, I'm okay. Breathe out, breathe in, I smile, breathe out, I'm okay. Breathe in, I smile, breathe out, I'm okay. Breathe in, I smile, breathe out, I'm okay. And I'm going to say goodbye to you now, since it's a recorded session. And those who want to continue meditation, please do so. And those who want to stop, you have already stopped. So I will let you know what happens with my communication with my husband. But meanwhile, have a good meditation week, and I will talk to you again week after live. Goodbye.